Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the Closing Bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
We've got about 376 names in the S&P 500 higher today, guys, 123 to the downside. And Scarlett, we're now up about 3.6% on the S&P for the year.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Let's take a look at the sectors and how they performed. You have 11 sectors in the S&P, and only 2 of them declined today. Energy lower by 1.5% as oil prices slump for a second day. Consumer staples, little changed on the day. The best performers are technology, led by chip makers, financials also higher, and communication services all gaining at least 1.4% on the day.
All right, a lot of green. I'm going to get to some big ones. Carnival was a bigger gain. I think at one point was the number one gainer in the S&P 500 earlier in this session, finishing the day with a gain of about 7%. Off its highs, at one point it was up as much as 10% today. The company coming out, the cruise operator, boosted its adjusted earnings per share forecast for the full year, and it really did lift the entire group. So we saw a lot of peers rising as well. There were some fears, if you go back about a month or so, maybe some concerns about some of the unrest, some of the tariffs, the trade, and about some of whether or not that was going to cut back on consumer spending. But we did see Carnival come out in a big way today. Advanced Micro Devices, number 2 gainer in the NASDAQ 100. It's up about 7%, just under 7% in today's session. You might remember yesterday we did have one Wall Street skeptic turned into a bull with its progress, or looking at the progress of AMD in AI chips and computing systems. We're talking about Melly's research analyst Ben Reitzes upgrading AMD. That was yesterday to a buy from hold. He also raised his price target to 175 from 110. So we did see AMD up about 1% yesterday and adding that 7% gain in today's session. And then Uber Technologies up about 7.5% in today's session. Today beginning offering its customers driverless Waymo rides in Atlanta. So that makes it its second market after Austin. The two companies teaming up instead of competing against one another. So Uber definitely one of the outperformers in today's session. Tim?
All right, let's go to some of the underperformers. I want to start with Tesla. On a points basis, the worst performer in the S&P 500, 2.35% to the downside, giving back some of yesterday's gains. Remember, that stock was up more than 8% yesterday after the company rolled out its long-promised driverless taxi service to a handful of riders in Austin. Well, today shares fell. U.S. auto safety regulators are actually investigating incidents where Tesla's self-driving robotaxis appeared to violate traffic laws during the company's first day offering paid rides in Austin. Once again, shares now down by today 2.4%. I think we got some.
Let's take a look at FedEx. The shares they are moving lower in the after-hours trade. Their earnings just now crossing the wire, with the company saying that its adjusted income in the fourth quarter coming in slightly above estimates, $2.02 billion. That was the operating income figure. The street was looking for 1.91. Adjusted EPS $6.07. The street on average was looking for $5.81. On the revenue side, $22.2 billion, and that also is a beat. Here's your guidance going forward. The company says first quarter revenue will grow flat to 2% is the guidance that they're giving for first quarter revenue growth. The company says first quarter adjusted EPS should come in at a range of $3.40 to $4 even. The street on average was looking for $4.03. So that looks to be a little bit of a miss when it comes to its outlook. The company also saying that it's not giving a full year profit view, guys, due to uncertain global demand. And you see the shares bouncing around from losses back to gains.
And a part of the FedEx story right now is really what it does with costs and how it contains those expenses. It's worth noting here that FedEx sees its 2026 capital expenditures at $4.5 billion. Analysts were looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $5.01 billion, so just over $5 billion. FedEx is going to be spending less in the coming year than what analysts had anticipated.
Yeah, we've seen both FedEx and UPS having a tough time. FedEx is down about 18% year to date. UPS is down about 20%. And I'm just doing a quick check on UPS in the aftermarket. I think initially it was a little bit lower. It's up about 0.5%. So we'll continue to track them and look for some more color, certainly about FedEx. But yeah, that's a big red sticky, not giving fiscal year profit view due to uncertain global demand. So I want to know a little bit more about what that uncertain global demand specifically is.
Yeah, shares down about 1%, but bouncing around in the after hours right now. Wait for commentary on the call as well. I want to get back to, go ahead, Romaine.
Yeah, I also just want to point out, too, that, and we should just acknowledge also the passing of Fred Smith, who of course, was the founder of this company. And they actually lead off their press release with a nice commentary about their late founder. Sorry about that, Tim.
Go ahead. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to some of the decliners. I mentioned Tesla. I do want to talk about RTX, formerly known as Raytheon. We did see shares of defense companies fall today. RTX down 2.72% today. Among the worst performers in the S&P 500, defense stocks broadly declined as tensions appeared to cool in the Middle East. And finally, Circle Internet shares fell by more than 15% today. It turns out this stock also goes down. It doesn't just go up. The company's
I think it's the fourth time since it went public that it's gone down.
Yeah, shares are up close to 620% since that June 3rd IPO, but down 15.5% today. It was initiated at Compass Point Research and Trading with a recommendation of neutral. The concern is competition is expected to increase after that legislation here in the U.S. was passed. Once again, Circle down 15.5% today.
All right, I'm taking a look at the bond market, guys. Pretty well bid all across the board, pretty much the whole day. That front end coming in by about 5 basis points, the back end coming in very similar as well. A couple things happened. One, you had Fed Chair Jay Powell making no news, so that helped. Two, you also had two-year bond auction, went on without a hitch. Demand was actually quite strong. You had a ton of Fed speakers today. Fed Governor Michael Barr, the latest, saying that he does expect inflation to rise due to tariffs. The second round effects could make tariff inflation persistent. So sort of, again, talking about the different splits on how to look at tariffs when it comes to inflation. And want to point out we get 5-year auction tomorrow, and then we get a 7-year. So together we get like $104 more billion coming over the next 48 hours.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.